make your way down to your mat. And go ahead and take a cross-legged position or whatever works for you for sitting. If you do tend, we're just talking about low backs. I'm just going to grab my cushion really quick to show you. If you tend to be tight when you're sitting in any of your seated positions, if you tend to find that you kind of slump down and back, that tends to sometimes be tightness through here. And what will often help that is elevating yourself. This is just a teeny cushion. You could even elevate yourself higher. And that tilts your pelvis forward, and that will help lengthen your spine. So if you're sitting and you just kind of feel like you're not able to sit up tall, sitting upon something and then letting your legs, your knees, your hips drop in front of you will help you. I do that when I'm like sitting for my meditation, because sitting for more than a couple minutes will bother me otherwise. So, and then go ahead and just allow your shoulders to roll down and back, actively relaxing through your neck. Let your hands rest on your lap. They can be face up or face down, whichever is more comfortable. There's not a right or a wrong way. And then you can either close your eyes, or if you want, just lower your eyelids, and you can find a point on the floor in front of you to focus on. That's a different, just a different technique for meditation. You're not really meditating at the moment, but. And just take a moment here to settle into your mat. If it helps to take a couple of deep breaths, you can always do that, inhaling and just letting it go. When you do that, sometimes you'll notice an area that you might have been holding on to tension releases. Think about your head and your neck for a moment, especially if we sit at computers all day long, or people who spend a lot of time in the car. We have this tendency to kind of stick our chin forward and sort of hunch forward. So it's often why I remind you to bring your chin towards your chest. And it's true even when you're sitting. It's not that you're tucking your chin into your chest. It's just pulling it back, pulling your head back so you're right over your shoulders rather than your head jutting out. And what that allows is for your neck to take the natural curve that it has, which is a slightly backwards curve, to support your skull, rather than in sort of an angular line. So see if you can find that neutral position with your head, chin parallel to the floor, so not tucking towards the chest, but also not tilting up. And take some deep breaths, inhaling through your nose, feeling the chest and ribs and abdomen expand. Exhaling, feeling them release. Taking a moment to just let go of any thoughts, any tasks or to-do lists, anything to do with work or school or kids' school or anything else. It'll all be there when you finish your practice. It's important to give yourself over to this time. There's a quote I'll read to you at the end, but it has to do with non-activity, and that there's importance in that. That just sitting here like this, just breathing, there's value in that. And see if you can find a natural rhythm, inhaling, exhaling. Each inhalation through the nose being about the same length of time. Each exhalation being about the same length of time. Each exhalation releasing tension. Still sitting tall, but without tension, without stress. And if you'd like to set an intention for today's practice, you can do that now. An intention is something like a goal, but perhaps with less pressure on yourself. Maybe it's to stay present. Maybe it's to focus on a particular posture. Maybe it's to remember the breath. Inhale, extending your arms upwards, interlace your fingers and stretch up high. And just sway to one side, keeping both hips rooted. Just bending a little bit to the side. Inhale back to center and over to the other side. Just beginning to open up the spine a bit, the ribs. Inhale back to center. As you exhale, you can open your eyes, bring your hands behind your body, press them into the mat. Tilt your gaze up towards the ceiling, opening the chest, pulling the shoulders back. Just a little bit of a stretch there. And release that. We're just going to fold forward here so you can walk your hands out, hinge forward, and then let your head drop. Let your spine round over. And take a couple breaths. Let your knees drop down, opening up through the hips. Walk that back up and then change the cross of your legs. So whichever leg is in front, see if you can switch it. It's unbelievably awkward for me to do this. Maybe it's less so for you if you're ambidextrous in your legs. And then go ahead and walk that forward. Same thing we just did. Oh, notice if it feels different. It's excruciating for me. I think because of my hip crookedness. Probably means I should do it more often, not less often. Take a few breaths, release into that. And walk yourself back up. And then let's open those legs out. Uttanasana Vista Konasana. Sitting up nice and tall. And sometimes it helps to actually sort of move your gluteals out from under you a little bit. And then again, sitting nice and tall. Again, if you're real tight, elevating yourself here is also totally fine. You could sit up as high as being on a block. So start up nice and vertical. And then hinge forward from here. So if you have a block and you want to use it, you can place it in front of you. Walking the hands forward, think of hinging forward a long spine rather than a rounded spine. So you actually could still maybe be looking at me depending on where your screen is. Toes towards the ceiling, kneecaps towards the ceiling so they're not rolling in. And pause here, taking a breath, and you can use your forearms or your palms either on the floor or on a block to actively pull. So you're sort of pressing into the floor, the mat, the block, whatever your hands are on. And you're trying to hinge out from here. So I always talk about that strength on the top of your head. It's no different here. Someone is still, like if they were pulling, it would still be at this angle, hinging you from your hips. Your belly button aiming towards the floor. So if you were real flexible, the first thing that would happen is your abdomen would hit the floor rather than the top of your head hitting the floor. Think about your ultimate goal would be to get your chin out on the floor somewhere way out in front of you. And then walk yourself back up. And let's draw the left leg in. So leaving that right leg shooting out to the side, draw the left leg in up high on the thigh, releasing that knee down. Hips are still square forward, growing tall. Inhale, extend that left arm, and as you exhale, laterally bend. So really try to keep your chest open towards the front. You're not rounding down towards that leg. You're reaching the arm towards the toes and turning your gaze, so maybe you're looking up at the ceiling just past that right armpit. Take a couple breaths. It doesn't really matter where your bottom arm is. Mine's across in front of my body. It could actually go beside the leg if you wanted. You just want it sort of out of the way. Breathe into this. Notice that compression on the side that you're bent. You're pressing into your lungs. It'll be hard to breathe. And then come up a little bit to then rotate your body. So now you're angling down towards that leg and just release down. I like to reach the arm, the opposite arm. So my left arm reaching across the right foot to feel a stretch through that left side body. You can do that if you want. Take a few breaths. Anytime you hold these stretches, just breathe into it. Don't force it, especially now because we're pretty cold and you're doing these static stretches. So don't force it. Just let gravity and your breath do the work. And press back up. Bring the left hand behind the body, pressing into the left hand, the right foot, pushing yourself up, extending the right arm, feeling a stretch through this right hip flexor. Deep inhale and exhale. Good, and lower that down. Now bring that leg straight out in front of you, the same extended leg. Cross the opposite leg over. Sit up nice and tall. Option to leave the leg extended or to tuck it behind for a seated half spinal twist. So sitting up nice and tall, growing tall. Inhale and exhale as you twist. So left hand's going behind the body. Right arm is hugging the right knee, or it's coming all the way over the right knee. Spine is tall. And that right arm can come up. You can wave. You could reach down towards your right foot, or left foot rather. And you're opening the back shoulder. That left shoulder is gently pulling away. Take some deep breaths here. Long inhales, long exhales. Coming back to center. So options here, we're going to come to Gormukhasana, cow face posture, which can be challenging for people. So if you're already here, go ahead and see if you can tuck this left leg behind you. If you're not, and this isn't going to work for you, just stay where you are. You can still do the arm portion of it. Otherwise, see if you can stack. I think you should have left knee on top of right, and you're going to bend the right elbow. And then your options here are to grab hold of the tricep with the left hand to get yourself a tricep stretch, or reach that left hand behind and see if you can catch your right hand to stretch that way. And now we look like the face of a cow, if you really use your imagination. These elbows are your ears, and these down here, your legs, are the lips of the cow. So you can decide if I look like a cow face. Taking a couple deep breaths. So you should be feeling this in your hips, and then a bit in your shoulders and your triceps, depending on what arm position you're using. Good. Release that, and extend your legs out in front of you, flexing the feet up towards the ceiling. I'm just going to turn sideways too for the moment. So we're going to work with hinging forward with a long spine, and then we'll release into a rounded spine. We'll do this a few times with the breath. So we're going to inhale up. As you exhale, think about hinging with a long spine, like you're trying to reach and grab somebody's hands in front of you, reaching, and then release, drop the arms around the back, let the head release. Trying to flex your feet here to create some hamstring engagement. Couple breaths. And then again, inhale, rising up, growing tall, 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 tall. Exhale, think about extending out. We're trying to really lengthen from the base of the spine. So really reaching. When you can't reach anymore, then let the arms go, let the head go. If you can grab ankles or calves, you can pull yourself more deeply down. Equally, you can take peace fingers around your big toes. You can grab the tops of your feet. This is a great opportunity for a strap if you wanted to use that. Take a couple breaths again. And then roll yourself up. And open your legs out again. I'll turn back to face you. Okay, so going over to the other side. So again, starting nice and tall. We're going to bring the right leg in, pressing against the left thigh. And we're going to bend to that side. So think about growing tall, reaching with that arm, and then just tilting to the side, turning and looking up towards the ceiling, keeping the chest open, and again, deciding what you want to do with your left arm. It doesn't matter. Taking some nice deep breaths here. And then coming up to then rotate And release yourself down towards that knee. Again, you can reach the opposite arm across. Maybe it grabs the calf, the ankle, the foot. Maybe it just is on the mat. It's just reaching in that direction. Take some breaths. Let every exhale release you more deeply down. Well, that was silly. I didn't start my hop. And pressing yourself up, bringing that little left hand behind the body, driving through the heel, pressing up, stretching overhead. This is sort of like a baby wild thing. I like to think of it as like a good morning stretch. I feel like it's like when you first wake up out of bed. Stretch everything, take a deep breath, and then let it go. Bringing the left leg in front, crossing the right leg over. So you can do your seated half spinal twist. I'll turn to the side for this one too, just so you can see. You can do this with your leg extended. So if you don't want, you can, or if you want, you can tuck the leg. But otherwise, I'm going to sit up tall and I'll show you how it looks here without the leg tucked. The right hand comes behind the body. Left arm is going to either hug that knee or come all the way across. And that arm can come up or it can reach down. So you'll see it really doesn't change a whole lot here. If I want to have that leg tucked back, the spinal twist is the same. So don't feel like you're missing anything if you aren't able to do the bottom leg. So again, think about pulling that back, shoulder back. And what I see often is people leaning back into it. And so you can see we lose the twist when that happens. You want to think about sitting tall and just twisting the spine. Inhale, exhale. And then coming back to center. Again, if you want to come to cow face posture, so that right foot is going to tuck all the way back. I'll just turn so you can see what I was talking about with the hands, if it is helpful. So now we're bending the opposite arm, so it should be probably your left arm if you did your right last time. It's the opposite from the leg that's on top. And then your options are to stretch your tricep here. Don't tug on your elbow. And also be careful that you're not kind of popping your shoulder out. The idea is to stretch this triceps. You want the shoulder to stay where it is, and you're just stretching across. And if you can reach, you bring that hand up and back and you clasp hands. But even if you're here, that's fine. Or if you take a belt or a washcloth or something in between, a t-shirt to bridge the gap, that's fine too. Try to sit tall. What I see sometimes is people working so hard to hold on to their hands and then they end up like all like contorted over. Don't worry about that. Sit up tall. If you reach, you reach. If you don't, you don't. Good, and then release that. Not everyone has like weirdly long arms like I do. All right, come over onto your hands and knees. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Cow cat a couple times. Let that spine release. Press up, really the last time, arch up into that cat posture. Press into the hands, pull the belly button up, drop the head towards the chest. You're looking at your belly button. Press into the tops of your feet and just hover off the mat for a moment. And release that back down. We're going to come to plank. So everybody pop up for a moment onto your toes. And then if you want to modify this, you drop down onto knees from there. So you're at an angle in your modified plank. Otherwise, you can hold regular plank. We're not going to be here forever. Your option. And then if you want, drop those knees to the mat. Slowly with control, practice the lowering down, especially if this is a hard move for you. Elbows by the side, chest aiming to the floor. So your hips are up in the air. Bring your chest to the floor, but those hips are still slightly lifted. And then as you press your hips into the mat, you press into the palms, lift the chest, lift the head, finding cobra. And see if you can hold here for a moment. And release that down. Come all the way down to the mat. Slide the hands out. Coming up into Sphinx. Feet squeezing together, extending away, pulling the belly button away from the mat, shoulders rolling down and back. Drop your chin towards your chest, and then tilt up a little bit without crunching back. So big head nods down and up. Engaging your gluteal muscles, squeezing the glutes, and also somewhat in squeezing the abs, even though it's hard to contract them from this position, just to protect the back. Back to center. Turn your head side to side, over one shoulder, over the other shoulder. Back to center, and tilt your head side to side, ear to shoulder, towards shoulder, I should say, ear towards shoulder. And then release that down. Push yourself up and back. Curl the toes under, coming to puppy pose. So reaching the hands really far in front of you. Sitting back towards your heels, letting the head drop towards the mat. So again, like someone's pulling you by your fingertips and pulling you by your hips. So you should feel a long stretch through your spine. It's very much like a traction type position, a back spinal traction position. And then come all the way back to child's pose, letting your feet relax. Bring your arms down by your side. Tuck yourself into a little teeny ball. Breathe into the back. And then go ahead and rise up out of this. Come back to all fours for a moment. Extend the right leg back behind. Flex the foot. So we were talking about this before class. I even noticed this in myself. I'll look at the video and be like, oh my gosh, my leg wasn't all the way straight. Most of the time I think it's just because I'm not thinking about it. I was going to say I'm being lazy. That's not entirely true. It's just I have to really consciously think about it. So really push the heel away. See if you can really lengthen through that hamstring. Keeping the leg just at hip height, not any higher. And then if you want, extend the left arm. So you've got right leg extended, left arm extended, or the opposite. Just remember what you did. And then draw everything in and really arch up into that cat position. So pull the knee and pull the elbow and press the back up towards the sky. So you're really arching over, tucking into a little ball. And then inhale, extend, and go ahead and come to that cow position. So the low back slightly curved. Exhale, moving with the spine. Inhale, chest lifts, gaze comes forward. One more time. Exhale, curling everything in. Inhale, chest lifts, gaze forward. Good, bend the knee, reach the hand back. Can you catch your foot with your hand? Giving yourself a stretch. It's a fairly impressive looking posture. If you get to here, it's quite pretty, I think. If you can't reach it, again, hooking a towel, hooking a strap or a t-shirt, anything to bridge that distance is totally fine. And then let's swing that right foot all the way forward, planting it down, rising up, hand behind that knee, and then hinging forward, opening the left hip flexor. Chest lifted. So we're really driving forward. You should feel this opening that left side of your hip. If the knee comes over the toe, that's fine. And try not to sink into the hips. Think still about lifting, lifting, lifting. If it helps you, extend your arms to think about don't fall over, to think about extending and lengthening, chest lifting, shoulders still pulling away from your ears. Gazing towards the ceiling. Again, a very lovely, graceful posture. Yoga isn't about aesthetic, but it's okay if you're like, wow, I feel really graceful right here. Or if you're like, I totally don't feel graceful at all, that's okay too. Bring those hands down to the mat. Curl the left toe under, press the right foot back, coming to plank. And then drop down to knees, lower all the way down, chest, chin, hips melting into the floor. Extend the legs behind you, squeeze the feet together, bring the arms out to a cactus type position, and then inhale to lift the chest off the mat, feet stay on the mat, and release down. Inhale, squeeze the glutes to protect the back, lift up, exhale, release down. Inhale, lift up, hold. Option here, making it a little bit more challenging, reach the arms out in front of you and then pull them back to that same position. So your option is to lower and lift, or to stay lifted and reach out and pull back in. 2 more times, either lower, lift, or reach out and pull back in. Last time. Press into the hands, push up and back, sit back on the heels just for a moment in child's pose, maybe one breath. And then come out to a modified plank on your forearms. So forearms find the mat, palms on the mat, option B on knees or option to lift up on toes. We are doing this in honor of RBG, who is 87 years old and planking like the RBG, notorious RBG that she was. So we are planking in honor of her. I hope all of you are still doing planks as well when you were 87 years old. I also saw a guy, he was like in his 50s or 60s. He wasn't like young, but he was not 87. And he was raising awareness for, he was veteran suicide. And he broke the Guinness Book of World Records for holding a plank. It was like an 8-hour plank. He literally did this for like 8 hours. I don't know how you don't like pee during that time, but whatever. All right, dropping down onto knees. Bring those hands back under you. Come back into your neutral spine, tabletop position. Press your left leg behind or whichever one you didn't do. Again, really trying to lengthen it, push through the heel, and extend the opposite arm. So you're in neutral spine right now. Your head is looking at the mat. Your eyes are looking at the mat, rather. And then we integrate our cow-cat movement with this. So we draw the knee in, the elbow in, we arch up, tuck ourselves into like a little ball-like position. Inhale, chest lifts, gaze lifts, arm and leg lift. And tuck everything in. Inhale, extend. Exhale, tuck everything in. Inhale, extend. Bring the hand down to the mat. Swing that left leg forward, rising up for a low crescent lunge on this side. Opening hip flexor. I sometimes feel like people must get bored because I feel like I do a lot of the same postures over and over again. But to be fair, I mean, I don't know all the tens of thousands of yoga postures. A lot of them are repetitive anyway. A lot of them are crazy hard. And a lot of the ones that we do the most often is because they're really good for you. And if they get easier, that doesn't mean they're less beneficial. And it helps with the muscle memory. So then hopefully even when I'm not there teaching you, you remember them. If we did like different things every single time, it's harder to find that muscle memory. Again, if you want, you can always extend your arms. You can always open that chest. You can do a back bend in this. You know, you can be really, really opening, and open this into a back bend if you want. No requirement. Bring the hands down to the mat, curl the toes under, press up and back. Regular plank. So whether you do plank on your hands or on your forearms, it doesn't really change much in terms of the engagement of your abs and your glutes. I don't really know like if one is better or worse. This puts more pressure on your wrists, so some people find that they don't like it, but building strength there is also not a bad thing. So if ever you want to do one and not the other, that's allowed. Dropping to knees, chest, chin, and hips all the way into the mat. Extending those legs long behind you. Extend the arms out in front of you. Option to modify this and bring those arms back to that cactus position, because this time we're going to lift the legs off the mat too. So lifting legs, lifting chest, lifting shoulders. Arms here or arms by your side. Take some deep breaths. If you like moving between those arm positions, that's always an option too. Inhale, exhale. And release that down. We're going to come up to one more Justice Ginsburg plank. Palms on the mat, forearms on the mat. Press yourself up to a plank. So make sure that your head is in neutral, or I should say your neck is in neutral here. So you're not looking down at your toes, but you're also not looking up in front of you. You're looking right in the middle. And check that your hips aren't dropping. We don't want to stick our butts up in the air, and we don't want to drop our pelvis. We want to stay right there in neutral. Inhale, and exhale. this to a side plank. I'm going to come to my left arm. You can do either, but if you do left, then it will, hopefully we'll all do both sides. Again, you can drop to your left knee if you want here. You can also extend the right arm. Reach the right arm overhead. And lower that all the way down to the mat. Ooh, my elbow just needed a little bit of a stretch. I had a plan for coming all the way down to the mat. Oh, I know, we're gonna do gate pose. Press yourself up onto that same left knee, rising up. I had a plan, I got distracted by my elbow. Lifting up nice and tall, gate pose. So if you have a block, you can put it next to your calf. Otherwise, just let that arm dangle. No pressure on the calf. Inhale up, exhale over, because I don't want you pushing on the knee. So it's either really light featherweight touch, no weight, or it's on a block, or it's just hanging in the air. The block is probably my favorite. Deep stretch through here. Good, press yourself up. Modified plank on our hand and on our knee. Lifting up. Oh, I forgot something on the other side. I'm reminded because I was going to do it here too. We'll go back and do that. Again, if you want to grab your ankle or grab your foot. So all these are getting to our hip flexor, right? We're stretching the quadricep muscle, the hip flexor, getting into the back, getting into the shoulder. And we'll come and we'll do this on our hands and knees on the other side too. Good, release that, pivot around. So now you've got one leg behind you, one knee under you. Swing that right foot forward, pressing up into a lunge. Push that left heel back. Rising up, hands find the thighs. And then bring the left hand down to the floor next to the foot. So left hand right next to that right pinky toe. And twist. Extend that right arm. If this isn't working for you, drop your back knee. Good, and then come back to center. Step that right foot back, drop down to your knees, lower all the way down to the mat, up to a baby cobra, push up and back, child's pose. And take a couple of breaths there. Oh my word, we just did a lot of things. I gotta try to remember all of that. Hey. Good, press back up to hands and knees. So the opposite side, because we didn't do our fancy posture there. So pushing the left leg behind, the right leg, the right arm in front, and then bend that left knee, grab hold. Making sure we're making ourselves even on both sides. Take some nice deep breaths. Good, releasing that down, curl the toes under, press up into plank. Option to drop to your knees. Lowering all the way down, chest, chin, hips, melting into the floor. Same as we just did a moment ago, extending the arms in front, lifting the legs, lifting the chest, and now option to kick the arms and the legs. This is called swimming. It's a Pilates move. Inhale, exhale. Nice, long, deep breaths. And release. Slide the arms back. Final plank. Pressing up onto forearms, on knees or on toes. Even so, because we haven't been doing any Pilates per se, we're exhaling through our nose, but still make sure you're exhaling really fully. You should still feel contraction deep in your abs that are going to help support you. Pivoting to side plank so that right arm comes under you to press yourself up. Left arm extends, and then reach overhead for a nice stretch. Lowering all the way down, bring that right knee under the body, pushing yourself up. Left foot's out to the side. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, bend over into gate. Again, letting this arm be or putting it on a block. If it's on your calf, just make sure you're not putting any pressure. The actual pose is to have your hand on your calf. That is the technical pose. But I just always get worried when people are putting that lateral pressure on their knees. I don't want you bearing weight there. And press yourself up and over. Option to lift that leg. Option to extend the arm. Option to catch your foot in your hand. So you're kind of pushing your foot into your hand, and that should make your hip flexor get engaged. Good, pivoting over, that left foot comes behind. You're on your right knee and your left foot. Swing that left foot all the way forward. Come up into your runner's lunge. Rising up. Hands behind the thigh, or behind the knee rather, and place the right hand next to the left pinky toe, rotating into your twist. Again, by all means, you can drop the left knee down to the mat. Releasing that, bringing the hands down, stepping the foot back, coming to plank, pressing up to down dog. Heels coming into the mat, so you can jog through here for a moment, pressing one heel into the mat, pressing the other heel into the mat. Getting a stretch, and then opening the back, really rolling the shoulders down and away from each other, nodding your head, making sure that it's nice and loose, shaking your head no. Walking the feet towards the hands to the top of the mat, letting yourself hang over, grabbing hold of opposite elbows. And release the arms, let the hips go pretty low, back is really soft, and let's re-stack, rolling up, one vertebra at a time, until we come all the way standing big. Inhale up, interlace the fingers, stretching up onto tippy toes. And lower that down, and lower the arms. Good, so we'll do eagle as a balancing pose, which is a little bit more complicated, but we've done quite a bit in the hips and shoulders, so hopefully it will feel good. And there's also modifications. So if you know you need to hold on to something, by all means do that. And if you don't want to do all the twisting that is involved with the eagle, that's totally fine too. So bringing feet fairly close together, let's come down into chair. So pushing the hips back, knees over ankles, extend the arms, bend the elbows so you're making a number 11 with your elbows. Let's cross the right arm over the left. Your options are to grab your shoulders, to bring the hands back to back, or to wrap the hands all the way around, palm to palm. Shift your weight into your right leg and lift your left foot off the mat. Sorry, I'm not mirror image of you right now. And then you can either just cross that foot and kickstand it, or you can wrap that foot all the way around into your eagle. So we started out sitting low. If you prefer standing up in your eagle, that's fine. Otherwise, you can stay sitting in that low eagle. Make sure it's not putting pressure on your right knee. Push the hips back. Keep the chest lifted, and then be aware of your back and shoulders. If you lift your elbows and push your hands away from your body, that's going to open up the back more. And you're looking beyond your hands at a point in front of you. I kind of like blend into my background. My pants are like the same color as the part of my thing. Looks like I'm part of my tapestry. Good, rising up. Let's unravel the arms. Don't do like I do, extend the arms, and then unravel the leg, place the foot down. Bring those hands behind the back, clasp them together, open up, chest towards the sky, and then fold over, and let the arms drop down. Good, release the arms, bend the knees, and roll yourself all the way back up. Excellent. Same thing other side. Bend the knees, extend the arms, bend the arms, numbers 11. Cross the left arm over the right. Find your position, hands on shoulders, back to back, palm to palm. So again, from this angle, if you're here and your chest or your elbows are at your chest, it's fine, but you're not getting the engagement that we want to stretch the back. So lift the elbows and then push the hands away. This time shifting your weight to your left foot. I'll stay profile to you. You can kickstand that right foot right next to it, or you can wrap the leg around as much as you want. Staying with that knee bent, or if you prefer, standing up straight. Push the hips back to take any pressure off the knee. Elbows lift, hands press away. Looking off at a point in front of you. And rising up, unraveling. Stepping out this time into a wide stance. Feet parallel. Hands behind the back, clasp them together, open up, chest towards the sky, and then fold forward. Let the arms drop overhead. And then release the arms and just let yourself hang. Pressing into all four corners of your feet. Shake your head no. Nod your head yes. Walk over to one foot, and doesn't matter which, and just let yourself hang over that leg. And walk your hands through center, and let yourself hang over that leg. Grabbing hold of your foot, your calf, your ankle, wherever your hands are. And walking back to center, bend the knees, roll yourself all the way up. Pivot back to the top of the mat. Deep inhale up. Exhale, release down. Inhale, flat back, halfway lift. Exhale, release down, hands find the mat, step the right foot back, followed by the left. Modified, or from there, lowering down, chaturanga. Inhale up to cobra. Pressing up and back, downward facing dog. Extend the right leg up. Swing it all the way forward, planting down, rising up into your high lunge. Nice deep bend in the knees. Twisting towards the right side, let the arms open. So the right arm is shooting behind you, left arm is shooting in front. And then exalted warrior, let the right arm drop back. Left arm reaches overhead. Good, cartwheel this down to the mat, to your lunge, and then just step your left foot all the way forward, forward fold. Inhale, coming all the way up. And again, fold, releasing down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release, left foot steps back, followed by right. Dropping down to knees, or from here, chaturanga, up to your cobra, or if you want, up dog. Pressing back, down dog. Left leg swings up, swings forward, plants down, rising up, high lunge, driving through the back heel. Twisting, left arm shoots behind, right arm shoots in front. Exalting, left arm drops down, right arm comes up, breathing into that side body. And then cartwheeling down to the mat, runner's lunge, step the right foot back, forward fold and hang here. So reach your hands under your feet, bend your knees so that one hand goes under each foot. Toes are at the wrists, fingers in the middle of the feet, and then straighten your legs as much as you're able. And then pull the crown of your head down towards the mat. If your legs aren't straight, you're pressing your feet into your hands, working towards getting them straight. If your legs are straight, you're pulling your hands against your feet, working on bringing yourself even further down. And then release that. Bend the knees, find the mat. Step one foot back to your knee, step the other foot back to your knee. Press up into cat. Inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. Inhale to cow. Exhale, press up to cat, hold it. Don't hold your breath, just hold the posture. Press into the backs of your feet, tops of your feet, lift yourself up off the mat. And then release down and stretch back into child's pose. Let your head find the mat. And breathe. Bringing yourself up, spinning your legs around. Hold on to the backs of your thighs to lower yourself all the way down to the mat. Draw your right knee into your body, press your left leg away. Roll your right ankle a couple of times. And then lift yourself up. Try to bring your nose to your knee and just pause here for a moment. Release your head down to the mat. Switch sides. Left leg comes in, hugging your shin. Press the right heel away. Roll the left ankle a couple of times. Lift yourself up. Bring your nose to your knee. And lower yourself down. Place both feet on the mat. Place your palms beside your body. Tilting up. Bring yourself to a bridge. Keeping your thighs parallel so that your legs don't drop out, nor do they drop in. And just press up here. See if you can press squarely into all four corners of your feet. Contract your gluteal muscles. Lift yourself up even higher. Squeeze in the pelvic floor muscle. Take some nice deep breaths. Long inhales, long exhales. And then slowly bring this back down to the mat. Draw your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little rock from side to side. Place your feet on the floor. Cross your right leg all the way over your left. Kind of like we're an eagle. Shift your hips to the right and then let your left hip find the mat. And then drop your knees down to the left and cactus your arms and then look over your right shoulder. If this isn't comfortable, just unravel your legs and stack your knees. I was just giving you another option of the supine twist. And come back to center, recenter yourself on the mat, uncross your legs, cross the left leg over the right, lift your hips, push them to the left, right hip finds the mat, let your knees drop to the right, and turn your head and look over the left. And take a few nice long deep breaths here. And come back to center, back to the center of your mat. One more time, hug your knees into your body and just give yourself a little rock from side to side. And then extend your legs long. Turn your palms face up. Separate your legs and your feet so that your legs aren't touching. Separate your arms away from your body. So you're like a narrow star. Allow your eyes to close. Maybe take a deep breath and exhale to let it go. And let yourself sink into the mat. And just enjoy a few moments of silence, a few moments of doing nothing but breathing. find the thoughts wander in, just bring the attention back to the inhale, back to the exhale. As you're lying there, I want to read something to you. Very short. But often this time of Savasana, some people love it and other people absolutely hate it. When I would teach live, I had some people who would actually get up and leave during Savasana. And I think for a lot of us, we always have so much going on in our lives. Work, family, social life, we're always doing something. And what's been nice for some people, not everyone, but some people during this sort of weird quarantine, COVID, is that we've had more downtime. We have kids at home, that's probably not true. For a lot of people, there was more downtime than normal, and sometimes that can feel really unproductive too. But as you're lying there and you're breathing, what you're doing is allowing your body to heal. You're allowing your mind to rest. You're allowing your body's systems to regulate. As you just focus on inhaling and exhaling, it allows your digestion, your nervous system, your lymphatic system, everything to be working and doing what it needs to be doing without the added stress of everything else that you're normally doing. It's different from sleeping. Sleep has its own purpose. So this short quote says, non-doing has nothing to do with being indolent or passive. Quite the contrary. It takes great courage and energy to cultivate non-doing, both in stillness and in activity. Try to take that sensation with you as you begin to reawaken your body, wiggling fingers and toes, rolling wrists and ankles, rolling your head from side to side. Roll yourself over to one side, letting your head rest upon the extended arm. And take a moment there to pause in that fetal position. That place of safety, of comfort, of self-love, of self-protection. Enjoy that feeling for a moment. Take a moment to be grateful for yourself for practicing. Think back to what your intention was, and just notice how much it stayed with you. And then when you're ready, press yourself up to a seated position. And take a moment to check back in with your physical being. Check back in with your emotional being, with your mental being. I've been reading my blogs, I've been writing a lot about different aspects of yoga and why people do it, why people don't do it. And it's so interesting because some people stay away from yoga because they're afraid of sort of the spiritual side and the non-physical side, and I like to remind people it isn't a religion, it isn't about spirituality, but it's also not purely physical. It's not just about the physical exercise. It is about the mindfulness. It is about the breath. It is about connection with something greater than yourself, whatever that is. So take a moment to recognize that. And know that this time is time well spent. Take a deep inhale, extend the arms up, pressing the palms together. Exhale, bring your hands down to your heart. The light in me recognizes and honors the light in you. Namaste.